Good morning. Happy Tuesday. All right, we are almost done. So quickly flip to page 12. Make sure that you have everything that you need. And you can see today, these last few kind of blend different skills together. So the top, we're looking at elapsed time and then symmetry. And then on the back, I'm pretty sure it's all symmetry questions. So this should be short and simple. So go ahead and pause, get what you need. And then remember the rock, mountain, hill strategy. So we have this big box. So for the first elapsed time, we started with a simple one. Some will be harder with actual questions and you have to determine, are you moving forward or backwards? But this is just a simple one to show you. So there's what we need to copy down. So that first one's already done for you. So remember the hour jumps, basically you're just counting up or counting down. In this case, you're counting up. So if you can jump an hour, that is what the mountain is worth. So 1 hour, 1 hour jump. And then remember the hill, I think I'm saying this right, should be multiples of 5. So in this case, that one is 10. It can be 2, 5, same thing. And then the rock should always be worth 1. So the rock can kind of help you get to that increment of 5 if you need to. So to find the answer for that, what is the total elapsed time from 5:17 to 7:31? Remember, you just count up what you drew on your line. So we have 1 plus 1, 2 hours, 10 minutes, plus 4. So 2 hours and 14 minutes is the answer for that first one. And then down below, same thing again. Notice that these are both AM. So this one's simple. If it was going AM, PM, it would be more jumps. So pay attention to if it's morning or afternoon. So again, you draw your line just like we've done. And then you always put your starting time for this one. It's 8:25 and then your end time 10:05 so you don't get confused. And then we can do 1 hour, 8:25 to 9:25. One thing some of us would forget in class is to mark the new time at the bottom. And if you do that, you get confused. So make sure you're always marking your mountain rock hills on the top and then the actual time on the bottom. And then we jump 5 minutes with the hill to 9:30. And then again, that makes it nice and easy, 9:30 to 10. Now remember, your jumps, mountain rocks or hills may be different than ours, especially with the hills because it can be multiples of 5. So as long as you get the same answer, your jumps may be different than that one, this one here, which is fine. And then all we need at the end is another 5-minute jump. So we added up 1 hour plus 5 minutes, 30 minutes, and another 5 minutes. That is 1 hour and 40 minutes has elapsed from 8:25 to 10:05 a.m. Oh man, I'm about to choke again. I swallowed too fast.
That was
remember, we noticed on your Math Madness that these are simple, but if you don't actually show your work with the mountain rock hill, you can choose the wrong answer. And that's actually what happened. Did we notice that, Ms. Patterson?
We did. Yeah, a lot of people missed that because we were off by just an hour or a couple of minutes. So you have to be really careful. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead.
No,
the
you're good.
skill on this page is symmetry. And you guys did symmetry without us. So this started kind of our e-learning time away from each other. But symmetry is super easy. When you're looking at symmetry, you're looking at those two pieces folding on top of each other and matching up perfectly. And that's the key. It has to be an exact match. So for this capital A, you can see that we can fold it across this line of symmetry and it'll match up perfectly. If I try to cut it anywhere else, it's not going to line up. With this rectangle, I can either fold it over this horizontal line of symmetry and it'll match up perfectly, or the vertical line of symmetry. But if I try to do a diagonal, I'm gonna have pieces kind of hanging off the bottom. So a rectangle only has 2 lines of symmetry. If you look at this square over here, a square has actually lots of lines of symmetry because I can do my vertical line and fold it in half. I can do my horizontal line and fold it in half. And then I can go across each diagonal and it's gonna fold up perfectly. So it would have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of symmetry. Some important things to note, and these are probably the most important things when we're talking about symmetry with quadrilaterals. A rectangle does not have diagonal symmetry. We're saying it again because that's super important. And then also a parallelogram does not have any symmetry. So remember, a parallelogram is when I have two pairs of opposite parallel sides. And because of the angles, when I fold it, it won't match up at all, ever, ever. Anything else, Mrs. Moore?
That's a good one to remember with parallelogram, because the word parallel, you would think it would have symmetry, so don't let that one trick you.
Exactly, exactly. So all you have to write down on this one is do a big giant bubble around those 2 points that you'll need for next year. And then you guys did a great job with your symmetry monsters. They were so cute. So we know that you really understand symmetry. So here are our questions. Pause the video, answer them, shouldn't take you very long, and then come right back. All right.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to do the first two since it's with that, and then you want to do the other three?
Perfect.
All right, so use the figures below to answer the questions. So we're looking at A, B, and C, D of those on the left side for 1 and 2. So which pair of lines is perpendicular? So again, you have to remember this vocabulary that we taught you. And again, some of this kind of in the lapse of e-learning. So perpendicular means it crosses at a 90-degree angle. So which pair of lines is perpendicular? Well, definitely not A, they don't cross. B, it could be. C, this is where you're going to do that paper test. This was one of the videos that we first did for you. I think it was actually on St. Patrick's Day when we were dressed as leprechauns, and we taught you how to put the corner of the paper. So when I do the paper test that I'm doing right here on my paper, the one that matches is B, 90-degree angle, which is perpendicular. If I do it for C, I can see there's obtuse, and those are just intersecting for C and D. So the only one that is 90 degree fits perfectly in the corner is B. And then which pair of lines is parallel? Well, this one, very simple, number 2, is A. It's the only set of lines that do not intersect or cross. So therefore, the definition of parallel is lines that go in front, they never touch or cross. So gotta be A. A is A.
A is A. All right. So on number 3, we're looking at the shapes at the top. I almost called them quadrilaterals, but this one is not a quadrilateral. He's a pentagon. So I'm looking at these polygons, and number 3 says which figure has exactly 1 right angle. That word exactly is really important. So these pink words go with a different question, so ignore those. If I use my paper test, I can see that this is a right angle. This would be a right triangle. When I look at this trapezoid and do my paper test, none of those are right angles. These 2 are obtuse, these 2 are acute. C is a square, so he has 4 right angles. I'm looking for exactly 1. That's where they're trying to trick you. And then on the pentagon, if I hold up my paper, this one is barely obtuse, and this one is barely obtuse. So the only one that has 1 right angle is A. On number 4, which figure has 2 pairs of parallel lines? Well, the triangle has 0 pairs of parallel lines because it doesn't have any opposite sides that never ever touch. The trapezoid has 1 pair of parallel lines. The square has 2 pair of parallel sides, and then the pentagon, I keep forgetting what to call it, has 0 pair of parallel lines. So my answer would be C, because it has 2 pairs of parallel lines. And then the last one, which figures have 0 parallel lines? Well, if I took the time to write that for question number 4, it's really easy to answer that for question number 5. A and D do not have any parallel lines. So there you go. So that is elapsed time and symmetry. Don't forget your choice board activities, and have a good day. Anything else, Mrs. Moore?
Take your time. Be careful.
Be careful. Have fun.